I look at George Soros and I weep for the man. This is not the way I want to look or behave when and if hopefully I can reach his age. Soros looks like a prize exhibit with eyes popping out, escaped from London's Horror Museum of Canary Wharf. He comes across as a man whose maid would not even take orders from him serving his morning breakfast. His advice and homilies to India are akin to the croak of a crow on a treetop trying hard to sound like a nightingale. In Jayashankar's words, he is certainly dangerous, but only to himself, so that when he gets off his chair, he does not fall down with a busted knee. With power, once at the spider, comes responsibility, at least in the Marvel Comics world. But in the George Soros kind of world with money and some kind of illusionary power comes a last stab at mischief making and distorting the narrative. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the world of George Soros rotating his baleful eye, navel-gazing India. Besides analysis, sometimes, especially in these dangerous times, we also do profiles on dangerous characters of the George Soros variety in the CAA show. CAA, as all of you know, is Conversations and Analysis, and my name is Juggi Bhasin. To watch this video podcast, press the red subscriber button on your screen, and subscription is of course completely free. So, should we even condescend to make fun of this man who reserves his bile and his worst for the present government in India and the Prime Minister? Is he even worth the effort or the time of the day for us? In short, should we even begin to take this man seriously? We should, if we have completely run out of ideas. The opposition in India does that, and that speaks a lot for them. But why should the government take him seriously? Can his $4 or $6 billion net worth destabilize India? Well, that is a kind of money which is ink on a check or chump change we hand over to needy countries like Sri Lanka as freebie in our spare time. So can Mr. Soros stir up trouble? Sure, he can. If his agents in India like Harsh Mandara and that Shetty fellow get to have a free run of our media, our politicians, our institutions. But is that even possible? Honestly, these so-called left liberal activists are as much dangerous as those pathetic drones sent by our next-door unfriendly neighbor carrying dope and ammunition. A single shot from a handgun brings down those buzzing mosquitoes. Similarly, a rap on the knuckles or a tweak of the ear straightens out these meddlesome activists. The extent of the damage a Soros can cause is some kind of a predictable, boring, shouting debate on primetime news, and that also maybe for a couple of days. That is all. And nobody even watches that. Soros attempting a regime change, someone said? That is laughable. Soros couldn't even get a society president elected in an RWA election in a Delhi housing colony. So, the question is moot. Does the government want to build up this hilarious threat, this man as a powerful antagonist out to destabilize India? A kind of a second coming of the East India Company, if you will. If that be the case, and I have no idea of the government's intentions in such matters, then it would be a wasted effort. New India, young India, cares two hoots about such doddering old men. If you want an antagonist or an enemy, then it must be a credible threat, a powerful enemy, a Darth Vader kind of character. General Musharraf of the older vintage would have been such a person. Soros doesn't fit the bill. A better strategy would be to laugh at this man in his face, undemonize him, show him for what he really is, a pitiable, tired, old goofball desperately seeking attention. To take that approach, we also need to discover our vein of a sense of humor. But where in the dickens is that vein in our body politic? The opposition latches on these kinds of interventionists from abroad. The government, delighted by their folly, joins the debate. Tweedledum and Tweedledee hog our headlines, and nobody goes home any wiser. Now, how's that for a fixed match? And so, on this note, I come to the end of this episode of the CAA show, and I hope you really enjoyed this particular episode. You like our show, do subscribe to us, and on this note, it's goodbye and cheers from mine.